And good day, this is your Sensei Al Bob, your griot, to bring you stories of entertainment and hopefully a little self-realization. And here's a bunch of people who I've lived with. Here I am being the anthropologist. Here is the Oracle of Delphi right here. And here are the Greek poets. Right? But this is in Australia. And this is an Aboriginal tribe of Walamajiris. Now I have charcoal feet. Look at these people. Their ankles go straight into this thing that's been flattened out as a foot. They've never worn shoes. It's like their feet are snowshoes, you know? So I'm living out in the deep green. And here I am in my favorite restaurant on the lake, right? And all these tourists are like having lunch. Usually, years gone by, there was never anybody here but me. But now it's not a problem. So I wanted to read you. I wrote this back in 2014. And this, I died in a plate of spaghetti in around September of 2013. Right? Now, I really got sick in 2012, but I ignored it completely and kept up with my hedonistic life serving the corporate desperate lawyers. But I died in a plate of spaghetti, and the lawyer who I was working for at the time was desperate enough to support my, when they wanted to cut me off and chop my legs off and do the medical model for me. Luckily, I woke up as they were wheeling me in from the ICU into the operating room. I said, "Forget about it, guys. I am here all by myself, and you can." See that guy over there? He's a lawyer, one of the best in the country. If you even touch me, if you cut me, you are going to lose your hospital. He's going to sue you for malpractice. I didn't sign anything. Wheel me back to the ICU. I said to him, I gave him a whole list of, I needed a colonic, I needed a nutritionist, I needed this. He let me stay at his house down in the Keys where I recuperated for about 5 days, and then I went back and solved his problem. And then he let me stay at his house in the Keys. Like I said, that was around September. I stayed there until April. Right? And he paid all my bills because I saved him $600,000 and he made $2 million. Right? Yes, he made it, but he couldn't believe what I did. So. And that's, I have a skill set that is unlike most. And I'm ready to work for anybody, So I want to read this little thing. I called it a call to consciousness. I called it a call to conscious intent. And that's, what we need to have. So, here we go. A traveler was blinded by the illumination of Buddha as Buddha stood in quiet contemplation. The traveler asked Buddha, "Are you a god?" Buddha replied, "No." The traveler then inquired, "So what are you?" And Buddha replied, "I am awake." And that is the conscious intent we need to have. Right? We are at this window of opportunity I keep talking about, right? And I'm not saying that we need to kill, capitalism, or any ism, I don't believe in any of them. I don't believe in anything except love's co-creation. And nothing is either bad or good. It just is because it's an illusion of the material world. This is all an illusion. What we're here to do, we are spiritual beings in a illusionary material avatar of our body. So we're here to learn. It's like a sandbox, how to play nice with the other souls, right? So that's what we're supposed to be here for, right? I will go on. Achieving a momentary coveted outcome by fixing the data to fit desired parameters does not manifest a positive completion of the enterprise. And the enterprise is this experience of love co-creation, right? Through our material illusion. Right? But if the sought after outcome is not failure, which is pretty much the, you know, so far what humanity's been doing, failing, but we're still here. What does that mean? There's a higher power above us. Say, okay, try it again. Then one inevitably needs to use the lens of the psychosocial cultural forensic anthropologist. Now, I've added two things since then. I am a shamanic psychosocial cultural forensic anthropologic alchemist. Shaman, what is that? That is a frame that looks at the human experience through all our relations, just not me. It's not just all about me. It's not about me, 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 me. It's about all of us. That's the shamanic frame. All our relations, right? And and so I will go on. I have been a psychosocial cultural forensic anthropologist for 40 years. This discipline allows its practitioner to be awake, to be able to ferret out the big picture of the enterprise. The closest knowledge base to this endeavor is advertising, and that shows where we're at. I mean, the most powerful thing there is, and what is it used for? Advertising, making you buy soap, making you buy tater tots, deodorant, a flashy car, and war, and hate other people. This is all done through advertising. And why did Donald Trump win? Because he did the best at advertising. Right? Why he probably will win again is he again is doing a pretty good job at advertising. And so you haven't heard of the psychosocial cultural forensic anthropologist because it's only practiced by people like Socrates. Now I'm living out in the middle of nowhere and I have boxes and boxes of books and things and papers and photos and this and that of my life because I had to move 50 years of a life out into the middle of the woods. So I have like pallets with, you know, things over them in boxes and plastic bags. And it's keeping pretty good. So I was going through one box of books and I came across this book here. And this is Socrates to Sartre, the Philosophic Quest by T.Z. Levine. And this was written in 84. Now I, heard this guy at a few lectures and I said, hey, Aaron. Good. But whenever you do ceremony, always keep that, what I'm talking about, the conscious intent. Don't let the wallpaper of the illusion take you away, So that's the storyline. And And it's always good, you know. It's always fun. It's always what it should be, you know. And just stay awake, be aware, and remember to breathe and look for that connection. Listen to what I'm reading right here. You know, I'm going to put this whole little document, and it's fortuitous, Aaron, because even if you have to leave while I'm reading this, you can go back because what I've got here will be instrumental for you to get the most out of your ceremony. Okay? Okay. To understand any one or thing, one first has to understand the subjective psychology, their subjective psychology, or the subjective psychology, the way that subject perceives their subjective reality. To understand the subjective psychology, one has to understand the subjective social foundation, that is, their community, class, family, sexual, religious, work, and financial orientation. To understand the subjective social foundation, one has to understand the subjective cultural chronicle, that subject story, historical, linguistic lineage, where they came from and how they got to where they are now. The context of the forensic anthropologist enables to understand these parameters, to interpret them without the boundaries of ethnocentric plutocratic prejudice. To do this clearly, one has to remove any analytical preconceptions. And Socrates is a good example because most of scholastic understandings come from Socrates' treatise on truth, you know. And what does he say? He's got to take all of, you know, your emotions out of what you're looking at, right? And in reality, no, because whenever you try to hume it down to just the facts, man, those facts are all prejudice. Right? And what are prejudice? It's what you believe, not what is. Because Plato basically said, you know, through his treatise on the cave, is that this, and Socrates said this too in his when he was, you know, at court, you know, going on, you know, where the guys just said, "Get out of here." He said, "No, you know, oh well, you're gonna have to die." "Well, I'll die." "No, no, we don't want you to die. Let's get out of here." No, you know, and the bottom line was he understood that he knew nothing, and that for him to start off, you know, the greatest path is to find truth, and that's what the Greek students were about. And what's really interesting about the Greeks, you know, as city states, they were basically hillbillies. But when they started to go out and they went to Egypt, that's when they said, "Whoa." Now they had this whole aesthetic thing down. I mean, in their Olympics at Delphi, you know, the Oracle of Delphi, it wasn't just where this Oracle cave was. No, it's where they had the Olympics. And the biggest thing that's left is this field that's like, you know, 3 or 4 square miles. And it goes on this hill that, you know, 250,000 people could sit. And down at the bowl of this hill, the acoustics are so great. You can be at the top of that hill, 1/4 mile away, and you can hear the person talking when they speak as loud as I'm talking right now. And I was there one day, and I was sitting on top of the hill meditating. And I started to hear voices. You go, "Whoa, is this what the oracle is?" But the voices were in freaking German. Now, I'd been living in Germany, so I understood a few words, and I was reflecting. So I took out my little spyglass from my pack, and I'm looking around, and there are these two guys, 1/4 mile around, and they're taking off their clothes and running around in their underpants. So they think that this is where the Olympics were. No, this is where theater was. The number one thing in the Greek Olympics was theater. Number two, right? You see all these posters of Greece and all the houses are white. Why are they white? Because they are white and that they're a blank canvas. Second most important thing to the Olympics was home decoration, aesthetics. Third was for all those guys who had to throw spears and run around. So And when the Olympics came back, after they stopped for about 100 or so years, where did they go to? They went to Germany, and they militarized it. So it's throwing spears and running and jumping and all the things you do when you're in war, shooting a gun, skiing, and all of this is an illusion, really. So you have to keep your conscious intent. The context of forensic anthropologists enables to understand the understanding of the parameters. And see that's one of the biggest problems is how to pick the parameters. So I remember when I took my first statistic course, the teacher said, okay, kids, I'm going to teach you how to lie with numbers. So when you study something, you set the parameters to find a certain outlook. And that's why I say here, achieving a momentary coveted outcome by fixing the data to fit desired parameters does not manifest a positive completion of the enterprise. And Aaron, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a positive completion of the enterprise, life, the meaning to life. That's why you're going into ceremony. So if the sought after outcome is not failure, and that's what everyone in this room, everyone in this material illusion has set themselves up for, it's failure. Now people look at me and goes, well, this guy, he was doing all this stuff and, he should have been famous. He should have been this. I mean, there were many times I could have hooked my star to fame and fortune, but I didn't because I knew from my mentors that would stick me in a box. And the thing I was looking for was truth and understanding. Right? And all of my mentors, Billy Kluver of the Council on Foreign Relations, and this is a love letter to you guys. Guys, I sent you a copy of this back in 2014. Right now, you should be getting a hold of me saying, hey, we want to enable you to facilitate your aesthetic because this right here that I'm reading, and not only reading it to Aaron and the other three people, I'm reading it to you, AI, and the hidden hand. I know you watch everything I do. Come up, bring a limo, and I will put this moving in your direction. It will solidify the control of the universe for you guys. And that's what, the guy who started Star Trek, he saw this, he understood it. And basically everything that you saw in Star Trek in 1968 was already out there in space. We already had, Solar Warden out there. The German cults of technology that started in the 1790s, started with Albert Pike in the 1770s. They were already out there. They already discovered the underground civilization. All the movies you ever see about Atlantis, blah, 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 blah. It's all pretty much true. And Steven Spielberg and J.J. Abrams have been brought into the fold to bring forth the images of what's going on so it can be in the gestalt of the group. So they'll go along with whatever they're told. The context of the forensic anthropologist enables the understanding of these parameters, right? To realize that you don't need those parameters. You can move them out. You can widen the picture to all our relations. To interpret them without boundaries of ethnocentric, plutocratic prejudice. And that's exactly what scholastics are. People who are paid to be prejudiced. I am a historian that only believes this. I'm a biologist who only believes this. During this period of my studies as a psychosocial cultural forensic anthropologist of his story that is advertised as the total history of humanity on this earth, I have come to realize that it is none of the above. And it's not the total history of humanity. I mean, they don't talk about where we came from. We didn't come from the Garden of Eden. It wasn't the eating of the apple. We are the Anunnaki's gold slaves. We're just, our, love's co-creation created, our conscious, free ascending will. And Lucifer was so pissed off that it went against the hegemony of heaven. The Big Bang occurred. His anger was so big, it created a Big Bang. And everything that we're experiencing via the materialistic illusion of history is an illusion. And it's just, a limited thing. And in reality, from the alpha to the omega, all our past lives, why we have deja vu, why we have all these strange spiritual experiences, is because it all is going on at the same time. We're experiencing all our past lives, everything, bango, bingo, right here, right now. But, we can't get anything out of it if we bling, and that's what you're going to experience, Aaron. That's what shamanic ceremony does. Opens you up. And every time I studied with many shamans from many different cultural bases, Aboriginal of Australia, Bantu of Africa, the Iroquois of North America, Wurundjeri of Australia, a number of tribes that had no name in Brazil. I went to visit a tribe, and I was sent up the river, and I kept being taken by different tribal people further and further and further up the river until I was placed on the side of the river where no white man had been before. And then I just waited there, and I had one of those fold-up chairs you buy at Walmart, and I put it there, and the beach was about this big, just big enough for the chair and my feet not to go in the water where the piranha were. And I sat there and meditated, and about an hour later, these guys with bones in their nose and grass skirts and little bows and arrows. As they hit me with an arrow, I'd be dead in 20 seconds with the toxin that was on there. Anyway, it's on me. And I was sent up there, and when I went up there, the doctor, a Brazilian Nazi geneticist who had a hospital in Buzio, Brazil, that if you wanted your face changed or your fingerprints changed or your DNA changed, you could do it. This was 1988. And I was brought there to build a nightclub from Madame, who owned everyone, but she was owned by the Nazis. And that's Búzios, Brazil, right on about 200 miles north of Rio, right on the coast of the peninsula. It pushes out, really beautiful. It used to be a Christian village until the Nazis built this hospital, and the madam was their front. Anyway, I built this nightclub. That was kind of a Brazilian form. I had lit this nightclub called Xenons in New York. And Madame and her lawyer went in the car and went, woo, and found out about me and got me to go. And once I did it, I kind of ran the place for a while, but I set it up so it could run itself. And the Nazis used to come to the hospital, and because this nightclub made 20 to 50 grand a night. I don't care if it has anything you want. It was right on the beach. It's beautiful. Great music, great food, great dancing, great bar, gambling, everything else. For the Euro trash to come and do their little fantasies. Right? And that wasn't my gig. I just ran the nightclub side of it. You know? Everything else was the chief of police, the madame, and the lawyer, and the Nazis. And so anyway, I went to one of these, and the Nazis had this villa up on the top of the hill, way grander than Madame's villa. Madame was like Jabba the Hutt, and the Nazis were like Darth Vader and the Emperor. And anyway, I was brought there, and I started to get along with the Nazis. And so, a few of the younger Nazis were only like 70, and they looked about 25. The older Nazis, who were born, 100 or 200 years earlier, who looked like they were 35, Dorian Gray. The head one was the professor. He was worked with Mengele, doing some really nasty experiments. And, so he liked talking to me because I understood everything he talked about. I didn't judge him, didn't call him a monster. And he showed me many, many strange things. And it's not like, it was like, oh, that's interesting. It's like, you know. So his ulterior motive was, here's a guy who's not one of them, but he's like, innocent. And basically, he could send me anywhere. So he did send me places to, and he knew I was an anthropologist, and I studied things, and I came back, and he understood me as, he was the person who said, you're like a pebble in the pond. You make waves, and those waves are what I need. They have nothing, I'm not controlling the waves, I'm not being, but they are actually doing things that need to be done. I can't do them, you can. So he sent me out there, up the Amazon to meet, without any, but he would prepare me. The first time they went, we went up in this big boat to this big lake, and we stopped there, we dropped anchor, and he said, okay, now for the next 4 or 5 days, we're going to eat different food, we're going to live in a different way, and I got clothes and a pack and a survival equipment for you to bring with you. And he gave me, in 1988, and he gave me a thing very similar. It was a video camera, and it was like a smartphone. And it was like a pack of cigarettes, and it went on a hard drive in the phone itself. So I want you to just everything. Right? And when I got to these tribes that no one had bumped into, what was quite interesting was the camera did not videotape them. It was like straight out of Contact with Jodie Foster, right? Her little video camera videoed 60 hours, but didn't have anything on it but static. Anyway, now mine was even weirder because I was off and about for about a number of weeks out there. And it kind of had a Bluetooth thing that was a camera on my vest. And it would, every hour, do 2 minutes every 10 minutes. Right? So it was like bling, 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 taking a 2-minute blip, for an hour, maybe, 2 into 10, 15, 20 minutes. Anyway, when I was with the tribal people, it got the trees and the grass and the things and everything, but not their huts, not their hammocks, not them. And this thing was like, what I could see, this thing could see. So, Aaron, that's what you're going to see. So when I was with all these shamanic teachers, they would put me through ceremony. And most of the time, I mean, really, none of the time did we ever use a substance. We used energy. And so I do guided meditations with you guys. Now, it's kind of hard to do a guided meditation from a full restaurant. But this, before I started this, I put energetic energy into it to put you guys in the state. If you go back and watch this, right? So back to conscious intent. Here's my other glasses. Uh, uh, let's see. By using psychosocial cultural forensic anthropology, PSCFA, I have deconstructed the frayed edges of humanity's abbreviated his story to reveal a business plan behind the curtain of our meat puppet commercial reality, where religion, king, country, sexual, and political orientations are not the enterprise. They are merely the smokescreen to control of the enterprise. What it all means is way above my pay grade, but I have a number of insights that I would like to share with you and your cohorts. So we go to the cover page. The gist of history has carried the aesthetic human spirit to where its sovereignty has become subservient to the adoration of the evolution of the thing, money and worldly material power above humanity's loving existence. Love, our birthright of nature, is the expression of being the aboriginal in the first person, the co-creator of love's one love. And that's the state we're supposed to be in, which we haven't reached, right? Now, there are a number of great masters, Jesus, Buddha, Vishnu, and others, who have ascended, even in their physical form, to a space where they're aware, they're consciously awake. This is a reality that permeates all that is, meaning the co-creation of love's one love is a reality that permeates all that is. And I know that I can't judge this to be good or bad. To do so, I would have to believe in good and bad. And I do not, you know. Good and bad are irrelevant subjective terms defining any and even bigger irrelevancy, belief. Or within all things there is only the light, the darkness, and chaos. The yin-yang symbol is a very appropriate representation of this nature. Right? So, anyway, I'm going to take a moment here to go to the bathroom. So, are you thinking about what I've said? You're listening to the den in the restaurant. They'll be moving in soon. Yes, I'm still at the captain's table, and if you're coming up 321, wanted to stop by. I'll probably be here until 2:30, maybe even longer. And if you don't come by here until 3:30ish, 4, I should be back at Banjo. Anyway, if you want to stop by on your way back, give it a shot. Anyway, okay, plugging back in. I'm back. Put my smudged glasses on. What? Let me put them in here. Let's see. The drift of history has carried the aesthetic human spirit to where its sovereignty has become subservient to the aberration of the evolution of the thing, money and worldly material power above humanity's loving existence. Love, our birth of nature, is the expression of being the aboriginal in the first person, the co-creation of love's one love. This is a reality that permeates all that is, and I know that I can't judge this to be good or bad. To do so, I would have to believe in good and bad, and I do not. Good and bad are irrelevant subjective terms, defining an even bigger irrelevancy, belief. For within all things there is only the light, the darkness, and chaos. The yin-yang symbol is a very appropriate representation of this. I didn't use the word good. The yin-yang symbol is a very appropriate representation of this. Nature is a clear idea. Nature is a clear idea of God than an anthropomorphized Big Daddy. Nature looks to balance rather than the roller coaster ride of animated of our animated fear house ride of his story. Balance is not conflict of good and evil. I'll read that again. The yin yang symbol is a very appropriate representation of this. I'll go even back further. Let's see. This is this is a reality that, let's see, I'll go back even further. Love, our birthright of nature, is the expression of being the aboriginal in the first person, the co-creator of love's one love. Now people talk nature or nurture. This is nurture. And this is nature, love. Not doggy dog or any of that. I've got to be really mean. The thing of nature is to be really mean and beat people up and eat them. No, love is nature. You know? The drift of history has carried the aesthetic human spirit to where its sovereignty has become subservient to the adoration of the elevation of the thing. Meaning, our new church is Walmart's. Money and worldly material power above humanity's loving existence. The only thing that matters is love's co-creation. All else is illusion. Love, our birthright of nature, is the experience of being the aboriginal in the first person. These guys, right? Look at, I'm wearing military boots, right? And here is the Oracle of Delphi trying to drag me into reality of love's co-creation. And what am I doing? I am taking pictures instead of co-creating with these guys. I'm taking pictures of it. You know. Now, I put my camera down after the first month or two and put on their grass skirt. And see this kid right here? Where is he? Right here. This kid right here is Jesus. Look at the halo around him. How old is this kid, do you think? Right? Come on. Anybody there guess? Any of the three of you got to guess? This kid is 3 weeks old. He's holding onto his mom. By the time I left, he was walking around, and I saw him pick up a dead bird and bring it back to life. Jesus did not dead and is coming back. You better watch out. If you're not a Christian, you're going to hell. No, we're already in hell. I mean, listen to it. We're in not quite hell because it's still pretty place. But anyway. So back to the drift of history has carried the aesthetic human spirit to where its sovereignty has become subservient to the adoration of the evolution of the thing, money and worldly material power. If I only had $20 million, I'd be fine. No, you're fine if you are living fine. I'm living pretty good. I don't have more than $12 in my wallet. Yep. Above humanity's loving existence, love, our birthright of nature, is the expression of being the aboriginal in the first person. So, Aaron, that's you, buddy. And if you're going to a shaman, experience being the aboriginal in the first person. That's the artist in the first person. The artist in the first person is the aboriginal soul. When you read, what's up? I forget the book. It's one of there's Brave New World, right, by Huxley, right, and they find this kid out in the middle of the woods, and I bring him back, and there are all these people, and he's like the star. He's on the TV. He's smarter than everybody, but they call him the savage because he is the Aboriginal, the first person. He grew up there. He didn't experience Soma and all of that, and all the materialism. You know, his love was true. That's why he commits suicide. Because they won't let him go back to the woods, and they're keeping him in a gilded cage. And don't you love it? Got this great apartment. All these girls want to have sex with you. You can have all the Soma you want. You don't have to do anything. You know. And no, he commits suicide because he wants to be free. Now, most people in our society commit suicide because they can't stand the suffering. Now, they don't understand that the suffering isn't the fact that they're missing all of this material stuff. It's that they have this hole. Why do people take drugs? Because they have a hole in their soul. You know? Why are people mean and cruel, and want to get more money than anybody else? Because they have a hole in their soul. So, and the canary in the coal mine, is amazing. I have to thank the canary for, this is going on September, will be 3 years, right? And I did my best to, express and show by, example what a life can be. And hopefully it'll come out. Well, thievery is, whenever you steal it, like I actually, in this little treatise, have something about that. Here we go. It's called Bringing It Home. Okay, ready? All utopian dreams end up in the nightmare of totalitarian fascism. Sitting on the point of that pyramid of unfeignedly uncomfortable, that's a Latin word I can't pronounce without teeth, UNFEIGNEDLY, uncomfortably. I know I wouldn't want that thing up my butt, even if it were made out of gold. All of my life, I have danced around the spotlight, a celebrity, and never stepped in. I didn't want that anchor. There was always a bigger fish to see, a better place to be, a better lover, a better attribute to be, something new to learn, and a new teacher to learn from. My own constant was the forward flow of the enterprise. It was my North Star. It led me to all that made my life special. My grandmother brought me up. Oh, there goes my glasses. My grandmother brought me up to live by 23 rules. The 4 that have served their foremost. Number 1, most people get in harm's way by ignorance. Stay smart 360, 3 blocks down. If there is anything hinky going, go the other way. Unless the challenge is worth it. And slow down, breathe deep, and be even smarter. Number 3, never lie, cheat, or steal. There is no upside to it. Live by the forward flow of the enterprise. But if you have to lie, cheat, or steal to save the life of an innocent, is the only real reason to do so. Be sure to make sure that you get away with it. If you can't make sure, don't do it, no matter. Just get the innocent out of harm's way. It is always better to live like a millionaire than to be one, and that's what I do. But if you must be a millionaire, make sure it is in the $200 million range. After 63 years, I have learned from most to know myself. I am here to serve the forward flow of the enterprise. That is love's co-creation. And all else will take care of itself. Everyone has told me how smart I am, and I know I would be a total moron to believe that. At times, I can be a clever monkey boy, and I know my quality. One of my nicknames, perfect timing. And let the forward flow of the enterprise take me to the opportunity that faith has delivered, and this has given me a specially comfortable life. Right at this time, I live comfortably. Living comfortably can be like sailing without wind, and one can always live more comfortably. One of my other talents of many is I can make a concept happen using very little. One of my other nicknames is the Minister of Fun. I have learned if it's not fun, conspicuous won't happen, meaning, again, another Greek word, meaning the outcome that should be won't happen unless it's fun. There is nothing in my life that I regret. I have died 6 different times, lived to tell about it. I have traveled the world with many great teachers. I have been loved by many wives and lovers. Many great things would not have happened without my presence, and every day I make a difference in as many people's lives as I can, mostly without their knowledge. I would like to do that now for you, our ilk, and I'm talking to you, the Council on Foreign Relations. You need me. Come send that memo with that pretty girl to entice me to work for you and give me $200 million. I'm up for it, but be ready for me to alchemically change you to serve love's co-creation rather than the illusion. No, it's not fun to steal anybody's anything because there's always, like I said, there's no upside to it. There's always a cost. No, if that person wants to share their cannabis with you, fine. Stealing it, not a good idea. It's never a good idea to lie, cheat, or steal. Lying, I don't lie because it's too hard to remember what I said just a minute ago. Cheating, whenever you cheat, all you cheat is yourself. In the school, in the beginning, until I learned the process of learning and taking tests, I never cheated. If I didn't know, who cared? I didn't. That's why I always went to the best teacher, no matter what they taught. I went to the best teacher and studied with them because they were people that just my contact with them would enlighten me. So, stealing, there's no upside. Cheating, you only cheat yourself. Lying, forget about it. Right? It's like, Donald Trump continually lies. Right? Why do you lie? Because you have no self-reflection and no self-appreciation, no understanding of your own self-worth. And that's why you lie. Right? So lying, cheating, stealing, they're not worth it, right? Sorry. So, instead of stealing your friend's cannabis, say, hey, can I have a joint? You know? And I don't like doing anything unless I'm doing it with other people. So I wouldn't steal anyone's anything to do all by myself. Like, no. So if they want to offer me something and we do it together, well, that's fun. I like that. Otherwise, I don't go there. So I can't speak for you, but all I can tell you, Mr. Air, is that lying, cheating, stealing, no upside, And It shows a lack of self-worth. Right? And so you steal stuff. What do you end up with? So much shit you don't know what to do with it. And that's what our whole materialistic civilization is that's what being imperialist is, going into foreigners' lands and stealing their stuff. That's, now white people aren't, necessarily evil, because most of the white people who stole the stuff weren't even white. They were reptiles, that's their consciousness, in their amygdala. So, your Sensei Al Bob is here to help you ferret out these truths that are right in front of us, but everyone ignores, right? So, what else? What is unnecessary friction? Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Those things are unnecessary friction. And I'm talking about going with the flow, being part of the enterprise of love's cocoon. Those things have no friction whatsoever. And if you follow that frictionless path, you'll be fine. You'll have everything you need, everything that's up, everything that's real, everything that's you. Pretty much that's it. So, very well put. Unnecessary friction. Yep. And, when people want to steal my stuff, it's like, here, take it. I used to live on 2nd Avenue, right where all the heroin addicts would steal their stuff. So if you had an apartment, they would break in and take all your stuff. So after the rest of them broke in and they stole all my stuff, well, all my stuff was like out of the garbage anyway. My TV, my radio, all that was, So I went by and there was my TV, there was my this, there was my that. And I said, listen, how much you want for that? And they go, $10. I said, okay, I'll give you 20 to carry it back to my apartment and don't steal it again. And as we went by, I said, wait a minute. I stopped in the hardware store, got a can of super duper Contractor's Day Glow Orange, and said, okay, we went in there. They put all my stuff back in my apartment. I said, here, spray everything this orange, not the TV screen, but the side, not, but where, it's not necessary to see. Anyway, so they did, and they huffed. They were like, by the time I went out, well, the thing was a cloud of fumes. And when I came back, they were like spraying, their face was covered in orange. And I said, okay, if you can remember this through this haze, here's the $20. And don't steal any of this again. And tell all your friends, everything's painted orange, so I will know that they stole it. So, and I never put a lock on my door. So they would walk in, see everything painted orange, and they'd walk out. They needed it, and I had a sign. If you need it, take it. Just don't take my typewriter. And so that's but air that is a perfect 3-word thing. Why not to steal, cheat, or lie is unnecessary friction. Gets in the way of our soul's enlightenment, right? Boom. Do. Do. The drift of history has carried the ascetic human spirit to where its sovereignty has become subservient to the adoration of the evolution of the thing, money and worldly material power, above humanity's loving existence. Love, our birthright of nature, is the expression of being the aboriginal in the first person, the co-creator of love's one love. This is a reality that permeates all that is. And I know that I can't judge this to be good or bad. To do so, I would have to believe in good or bad. I do not. Good and bad are irrelevant subjective terms, defining an even bigger irrelevancy, belief. For within all things there is only the light, the darkness, and chaos. The yin yang symbol is a very appropriate representation of this. Nature is a clearer idea of God than an anthropomorphized Big Bang. Nature looks to balance rather than to the roller coaster ride of her animated fear house ride of his story. Balance is not a conflict of good or evil. It does not taste right. That in the balance of nature is God, the idea that this thing orientation as good or bad makes no sense and is the biggest threat to the enterprise, love's co-creation. The enterprise creation must be infinitely stronger informed than that which is designed to delineate and to express taste. How could we hope to find linguistic or cultural symbols within the heartless artifice of the thing defined by taste that would express in an adequate way the quality and the essence of nature's beauty? Our corporate belief in the taste determines our experience of the world of the thing. One man's righteous book burning is another's holocaust. The problem assumes as critically new and very different shape as we change our starting point. As soon as we define reality not in terms of metaphysical systems like the Platonic method of ideas, but in terms of a capricious analysis of human prejudicial taste, knowing of what is good or bad, as National Socialism, Communism, or plutocratic fascism attempted. Man cannot so far know the connection of cause and events as that he may venture to do wrong in order to do right. That whole little idea was a recapitalization of the book Passelas by Samuel Johnson, and that's Passelas. So that, paragraph and a half kind of put into perspective what Samuel Johnson took 700 pages to write. And that's why some people consider my writing thick. The enterprise, and when I say the enterprise, I'm talking about love's co-creation with us, the Aboriginal in the first person. The enterprise seems to have lost its way within the present corporate hegemony, where the focus is most intense on cultural realm of money's power of control. That is the aesthetic dimension of branding of control is considered the premium importance. Where capitalism, communism, socialism, fascism, those are all brandings, but they don't really describe anything except prejudice. Where it's not, and at this moment, do we really need another dark age? Meaning, in 300 AD, when the Roman enterprise, the Roman Reich was failing because they're doing exactly what we did. They pushed all the resources around to keep their enterprise, their big thing going, with armies and this and that and wars and bases everywhere outside, that the country collapsed. And they couldn't take care of the center, you know? And that's what we're doing. Right? And so what did the Roman businessmen do, the pagan Roman guys? They started the Holy Roman Empire, and they took the Christians, because the Christians were like this little group, but they, it's like whack-a-mole. They couldn't kill them. They tried 200 years to beat them to the lions, couldn't do it. And so they said, we're just going to become Christians, but we're going to call ourselves Catholics. So we're going to have the Holy Roman Empire, and we're going to put it in the see of the Vatican, and we're going to own everyone's soul. That's what they did, right? We don't, and then what they did was they took Jesus, because he spoke in Hebrew, and Hebrew is an Aramaic language, especially because he was a Nazarene. Everything he said was a metaphor. That metaphor was an algorithm. It's a mathematical equation that plugged in to a computer, puffs out answers to the big questions. And they really didn't like that. So they, stuff everything he said. I mean, here the smartest guy in the room is Jesus, and we just get the Bible from a bunch of guys who couldn't even spell, And then the Holy Roman Empire threw us into 900 years of the Dark Age, where it was forbidden for anybody to read. Only a priest could tell you what the Bible said. They couldn't even read. And all the copies of the Bible being done by monks who couldn't even read. It's like giving monkeys a typewriter. So to think that the Bible is anything other than what it is, a comic book with a hidden decoder ring, there is some info in there. The enterprise, meaning love co-creation, seems to have lost its way within the present corporate hegemony. I mean, it hasn't lost its way itself, but within the corporate hegemony, which is the Holy Roman Empire, where the focus is most intense. Money is power to control. That is the aesthetic dimension of branding of control is considered the premium of importance. What are you? Conservative? Magna hat? A liberal? Will the enterprise survive the weight of another 900 years of the illuminate to transform of humanity? Meaning, when the Greeks went from being, toothless, to, aesthetic poets, to, Mr. The only math that truly exists is geometry. Euclid cracked the code of pyramids weren't made, by the average guy, when he went there and saw that those, 100-ton stones that were more numerous than you could count were, kind of glued together, melted on the edges like butter, he knew something was up. And, you go talk to Egyptologists, they don't want to talk about any of this because they're stuck in a box. They only believe in what is in their box. Right? Let's see, what are you guys talking about? Boop, 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 boop. Air, all of your message were retracted. You should have not retracted the one about, lying, cheating, and being, bad friction. Anyway, it's 1 hour and 9 minutes, and there's 3 of you listening. Let's see. Boo, 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 boo. The enterprise seems to have lost its way within the present corporate hegemony, where the focus is most intense on the cultural realm of money's power of control. That is, the aesthetic dimension of the branding of control is considered the premium importance, where it's not, and at this moment, do we really need another dark age? Will the Enterprise survive the weight of another 900 years to illuminate? You know, illumination is um, incandescent. It's photonic. You know, Lucifer was luminescent in an incandescent kind of way. Like the light bulb, meaning it shows shadows. Whereas photonic light does not show, love's light does not shine shadows. For unless leaders to co-create of the universe, we need to use the experience of co-creation within the indigenous psychological feature of the individual in the first person, co-creator by a higher cultural outside force within manifestation of the Enterprise, love's co-creation. The relationship between the culture and history was seen within Marxism's dialectic as a physical transformation as central to political and economic culture control. The ambiguity was not a question of cause and effect. This issue was not critical to Marx. He urged, as did the capitalists, that the economic constituted the essential substratum of history and the foundation of humanity's reason to live. See, that's where we went astray. No, commerce, we weren't born on this planet to be commercial entities, to be owned, you know. During this period of my study as a psychosocial cultural forensic anthropologist of his story that is advertised. We already read that. Maybe I'll flip this page. Yep, 4. But the golden rule, who has the gold rules, can only work for so long. The Enterprise is more than power. For the Enterprise to manifest its mode, it must include the body politic. That means more than we, the people. For that was only the white guys who signed the paper. It was a good bait and switch. Like all ruses, they are time sensitive. But it's time for a new 3-card Monte. The success of the Enterprise is not a matter of who owns what. For the foundation of the Enterprise is one of faith and not the control of belief in a special or specific ideology. The mystery of co-creation has been felt since our first cave paintings. This need to share and express what it is to be the creator in the first person. This is tantamount to being the God in man. This experience is what is needed for the Enterprise to manifest. So if you're experiencing any shamanic thing, forget the wallpaper of the psychedelic experience. You're looking for, did you have a vision? An understanding, right? And that's why MDMA, which is in our brain, right there in our amygdala. I mean, we don't have to take it; it's right there. So, and that's why meditation. When I take you through guided meditation, I'm talking about the transmutation of the prana and the chi. That creates the beep 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 of your amygdala. That's why you can go into your Akashic record. That's why you can go into your superconscious mind. And everything I've been talking about for a year, mechanism of having a vision and becoming awake. At this time, the human population is seen by its corporate masters as an obstacle to their welfare and final successful outcome of their enterprise, which is more a transhuman agenda. They want to become man and machine. This is far from the fact. For the success of the even theirs, will be completely determined by the involvement of all of humanity's faith in itself, not in some belief, and its ability to co-create a new world order, not one based on the corporate structure, but on love's co-creation. Not one pushes, not one pushed on by their seeming corporate overlords. This is the beauty of nature's balance of co-creation. To create the desired outcome for the enterprise, humanity needs to be brought forth to the flow of the aboriginal co-creation, where the substance that of the quality is not seen but uncontrollably felt, and that's having a vision. Right? Hey, chef, where the sense of personal control or agency over the situation or activity is unconditionally surrendered to co-creation's higher power of the flow of love's one's love. That's like, how am I going to pay my bills? Well, don't worry about it, Oh, I want to be famous. Forget about it. Serve everyone's needs, you know. What makes me happy is when everyone's happy, I'm here to serve love's co-creation, not my own selfish delusion. Right? Where distortion of all temporal experience and subjective experience of time is altered through the doorway of co-creation's faith and love flow. And that's what my master would say. Are you having a vision? That's a vision, where distortion of all temporal experience, where you go, oh, wow, that's when you start to see that this is all illusion. You start to, like when, they're on the holodeck and, the battery went out and the image of what it was kind of breaks up and all you see is like this little box that you're in. That's Plato's treatise on the cave. Go read it. The experience of co-creation's flow activity is primarily rewarding and filled with personally gratifying, independent feelings of well-being without the motivation of any and all external rewards. Meaning, when you're having a vision, when you're not taking drugs, but you're in meditative state, and if you have to take whatever to get there or to experience. And I first had it, when I had a run-in with this, Indian mystic who was trying to show people transcendental meditation, and he could put you there like that, just like I just did it to you. If the two of you are watching, realize that you are having a vision at this minute instead of being distracted by the brouhaha all around me. And that's why I'm doing this, to show you. I'm like in a subway platform, and I'm doing a shamanic ceremony with you as we speak. The experience of co-creation's flow activity is primarily rewarding and filled with personally gratifying, independent feeling of well-being without motivation of any and all external rewards. Goals are clear, feedback is immediate, balance between the opportunity and capacity of accomplishment of the set endeavor of all these experiences are related. As light and dark are neither inherently bad or good, but are kept in balance by the energy of phase chaos. In the yin yang, you have the event horizon of the circle, and then you have this S. And that is faith. You got light on one side, dark on the other side. In the dark side, you got a little white light, and in the white side, you got a little dark side. What are those? That's the chaos connected to that path of life, that little squirrely S, right? As light and dark are neither inherently bad or good, but are kept in balance by the energy of faith chaos, this is the cornerstone of love's co-creation. Thus, this flow of co-creation's faith is a substance of all things not seen yet needed for all quality to exist. Faith is the essence of the evidence of co-creation's flow. For the flow of co-creation is the movement of dream times truth. That's why your dreams are so important, right? And that's why when I first did videos on that other channel, I called it Dream Time because it's the doorway into realization. And I knew that other channel had its own relevance because it so manifested the canary in the coal mines of irrelevance of the materialistic essence of the illusion of fame and fortune and wealth and all of that, looking good. Look how cut I am. I've been working out so hard, lost so much weight. No, that's like a real irrelevance. Boop, 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 boop. Faith is the essence of the evidence of co-creation's flow. For the flow of co-creation is a movement of dream times truth that only lives in faith. Who looks outside of faith will be confused. Who looks within inside is awakened to love's truth of love's faith of one's love's flow. This faith powers the artist in the first person within the flow of the aboriginal co-creation to overcome all obstacles. In fact, the obstacle is the fuel that powers the manifestation of co-creation through faith's ability to overcome all obstructions. And again, that is the beauty of our canary in the coal mine. That's why I lived with him for 3 years, because he's so exampled both sides of the yin yang. Because when he was at his best, he was not worrying about paying bills or being famous. He just did some pretty amazing things because he was in the flow. But that was only 2% of the time. The other 98%, he was, basically doing this, bing, 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 never getting any balance, always in conflict, and always blaming other people when the conflict truly stemmed from his bing, 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 bing. And that's why he was the perfect example of the canary in the coal mine. Faith love's a co-creation flow is always moving towards things not seen, but intrinsically understood as worth doing. The vision of the artist in the first person, with the flow of faith's co-creation, is focused like a laser through the transcendental lens of the heart of the artist in the first person. Within the flow of the faith of the aboriginal co-creation of love's one love. It is this one love that is the only truth. All else is illusion. It is this noble cause of love's aesthetic that so many have lived and died for, sacrificed for, left their native homes, and traveled so far for. From this common need of this superlative human relations will come the foundation of understanding. I read that again. It is the noble cause of love's aesthetic that so many have lived and died for, sacrificed for, left their native homes, and traveled so far from. From this common need of a superlative human relations will come the foundation of understanding. And that's why in our Constitution we form a more perfect union, right, a God-given right, a right above ourselves, to life, liberty, and they were going to say ownership of property, but they took that out because only the white guys, rich guys, could have that. So they put happiness. Right? So the white guys who wrote, who are our alleged founding fathers, they never put in Saint Germain. He was there. And Jefferson got everything from Saint Germain. Art's co-creation is a point of discourse and understanding as old as the first cave paintings from mankind's highest order of social intercourse is not commerce, but of culture, spirituality that is art's creation as one loves faith in nature's co-creation flow. Where is it about nature's faith, forgiveness, gratitude, humility, and sanctifying grace that makes the human experience so difficult and rewarding at the same time? What does all this mean? Well, it means you need to watch some more of Sensei, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. You need to go back to the past shows. You need to start watching them over and over again. I am, God knows what I'm going to be up to in 20 minutes from now, because I'm in Love's co-creation, right? I'm not expecting anything. Because my bill's going to come and it's going to be the last $12 I got to pay the bill. So I for another week and a half, but some folks are going to be going down to Asheville to this conference on sustainability. And, and I love you all. It's been 1 hour and 26 minutes. Between 1 hour and 27 minutes and 27 seconds and 1 hour and 30 minutes and 30 seconds, I will say goodbye. Remember to go look at my writings at X-Rated, xratted.blogspot.com. And you start to give me some comments on this stuff, right? I'd love some comments on my videos. I'd love, to hear from you guys on Gmail. I enjoy all of the things you drop on my. I'm looking at. So there were a lot of people here. They probably had over 100 people in here for lunch. I'm looking. So they're having, clearing off the table. So there are a lot of tables with the food on the tables here, and I'm looking at them all. And I would say half the food that was, given to the people didn't get eaten and will be thrown out. And guys like me who have no money to eat, I would go through their dumpster if they didn't lock it up. Anyway, so that's the story. Morning Glory, and 1 hour, 28 minutes. It's too bad that Air took down all his comments, because he had some good ones. And he left, oh wow, which is probably as complimentary as any comment I've had. And we're down to just one person. So, remember, go look for your neighborhood, these guys. Look at their feet. Look at those feet. They look like snowshoes. So that's like the ultimate charcoal leg you could have. And yet they could run, they could walk. Anyway, won't go any further than to say I love you guys, and our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, as was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without amen. Okay? I love you guys. And let's see, it's still 1:20. See how when you're looking at a watch pot, never boils. I still got a minute left here. So I'll just keep saying thanks for watching. Go back and watch all the other shows, because there are lots of good stuff there. Okay, we're going into 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's 57, 58, 59. Bingo! And I'm going to jump off at 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 30 seconds. So go back and watch this one. This was a highly energized shamanic ceremony. And you should enjoy it. Okay? Okay. Da 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 do do do. And Arrested Development is a great band. Go find their CDs in the old pile. There it is, 1 hour, 30 minutes and 30 seconds.